Hello everyone, my name is Mason Lawrence, and I'm the 4-H agent here in Pasco Tank County. Today I'm going to take you on a virtual tour of a commercial hog operation. This hog operation was a farrowing to finish operation, and by that I mean that the farmer had breeding stock that he kept on his farm, where he would breed the sows in gilts, and then birth them, and then raise them in a finishing floor setting until it was time to sell them at market weight. This farm was in business up until the late 1990s before this farmer retired. What we're going to do today is we're going to go and look at a few of his buildings that he still has on the property. Note that this is no longer a facility that is in use. Most of the buildings are now actually used for storage. So the first building that we're going to go into is a sow house. This is where the bred sows, as well as the sows that had just had babies, were put. And this building allowed the farmer to maintain and care for the sows in a comfortable environment. The floor is concrete. The pens are made out of wood to keep the hogs separated. And if you'll notice, the concrete floor was used so that each week the farmer could come in with a shovel and with a water hose and clean out the pens from any animal waste. That animal waste would be scraped and washed into the back of the pen where there is a little pit. That pit would then be drained into a hog lagoon. Now, in order to take care of these hogs, this farmer had several things. The first thing he had was feed tanks. Those feed tanks sat outside, and the feed was augered in with a motorized auger where it would dump inside of a wheelbarrow. The farmer would then take that wheelbarrow and go in and fill up the feeders manually for the sows to eat. Also, on really warm days, the farmer would be able to turn on a fogger system. This fogger system would allow for a fine mist of water to be sprayed down. If the sows got too warm, they could go underneath it and cool themselves off. Now, those sows would stay in that sow house unless they were turned out into the pasture where they were bred with boars, or about 5 days before they would ready to have pigs, which then they would move into the nursery and farrowing house. The nursery and the farrowing house was used by the farmer to help deliver pigs and then raise them up until those pigs were a large enough size to go to the finishing floor. First, we're going to talk about the house itself. First, you'll notice that there are two grain bins. Those two grain bins contain different types of feed. The first feed is for the sows. The sows would get a higher protein that they would need for birthing. The other tank was used for the nursery, and that would have a different feed mixture for the little pigs that had just been weaned off of their mother. Walking inside the farrowing house, you'll notice that this farrowing house is a 12 stall or 12 crate farrowing system. It is raised off the floor where there are holes and slats underneath it so that any waste can fall down onto a pit below the animals. It helps keep the animals clean and sanitary. The crate itself, or gestation crates as farmers call them, are used to help keep the sow in one place while she is delivering her young as well as nursing them. If you have sows that give birth to pigs and are left in an open, free environment with them, when they go to lay down sometimes, they accidentally lay on their pigs, and when they do, they'll smother them and kill them. So the gestation crate is used to help keep the pigs safe. You'll notice in this gestation crate that there is a feed trough in the front. That way the sow has easy access to the feed. There's also a water nipple that the sow can have access to water at all times. The piglets will move from the farrowing side away from their mother and be weaned and moved into the nursery at around 2 to 3 weeks of age. Those pigs will then be turned onto solid food. If we look at this nursery, you'll notice that there is a heater that keeps the temperature warm, so it keeps the pigs very comfortable. There's also a fan, so in the summertime, if the building gets too hot, you can cool it down. You'll notice that the pigs are standing on a raised platform with a wash pit that goes underneath them. so that any of their waste will fall through the cracks and then can be cleaned out. They are self-feeders inside here. If you notice the little dividers amongst the feeders, that is so that multiple pigs can eat at one time. There is also a nipple drinker for each pen so that each pig has access to water at any time. Now, the wash pits that are below both the sows and in the nursery are cleaned out 3 to 4 times a day by the big tank that is in front of the house. This tank fills with water and then at certain times flushes, or basically like your toilet would flush out all the waste that is sitting on the floor. That waste would then flush out into a lagoon. A lagoon is a large open air pit where animal waste is stored. The lagoon that this farmer has is a large open air lagoon that has a irrigation system that has been installed. This irrigation system allows for the manure to be pumped out onto the farmer's field. This in turn helps the farmer raise crops, his corn and soybeans, to help feed the hogs that he had. Not every hog farmer that has a lagoon has a pre-installed underground irrigation system. Some of the farmers will bring in mobile irrigation systems that will spray out the lagoon waste, or they'll bring in what they call a honey wagon, which is a trailer that sucks up some of the waste and can be driven out into the field and then spread out onto the field ahead of the crops, such as corn. Once the pigs reach about 50 to 75 pounds, they would be taken out of the nursery and moved into the finishing floor operation. As you can see in this house, the finishing floor has 2 rooms. The front room has 11 pens in it, and this is where the top weight hogs are kept. In the back side of this building, there are 4 pens where the pigs that come right out of the nursery are kept. Their feeder is a large feeder with multiple spots for pigs to go in and get food. They also have a nipple watering system that they can get water at any point in time. You also notice there are foggers in this system. So if the temperature gets too hot inside of the house, automatically the fogger system will cut on and spray a fine mist of water down on the pigs. This helps keep their pigs cool. This farmer also has a curtain minder for his hog houses. The hog houses are solid wall in the front and the back, but on the side there is a curtain that goes up the whole length of the house. This allows for the farmer to regulate the temperature in the warmer months. As the temperature increases outside, the curtain will lower itself to help regulate until it goes all the way to the bottom. Once it goes all the way to the bottom, if it is still warm, then the nozzle sprayers will come on. If you notice that in this hog house, in the front section of the hog house, there is a feed line. These hoppers are self-filling. By that I mean there is one hopper on either side at the very back of the house that has a compressed panel that as the feed falls in the bin, once it fills all the way up to the top, the feed will touch that panel and it'll push in, signaling the motor to cut off. So what happens is that the farmer doesn't have to go in and feed every day the pigs. As they eat their feed, the feed level drops in the feeder, and then automatically it fills itself back up. Those pigs also are on a slated floor, which means there's open area for the pigs to have their waste fall down. The farmer would traditionally go in and clean out a pen as he sold pigs out of each individual cell or pen. Since this farmer was a farrowing to finish operation, the farmer never had a complete empty house. You always had baby pigs cycling in and out of the nursery, the farrowing house, and the top floor. Inside of this top floor, you will notice that there are 11 pens. Those pens back in the production day would hold between 15 to 20 hogs at top weight. Top weight back then was 200 to 250 pounds. As you can notice, this is the loading chute. The loading chute allowed for a person to stand on the side of it as the pigs would run by and be loaded into a truck, either a commercial truck or a dump truck on a smaller scale, depending on how many pigs needed to be sold each week. That ramp could be raised and lowered according to the truck or trailer size that was being used to haul hogs. I hope you have enjoyed this video of a virtual tour of a commercial swine operation facility.